Hey folks, welcome back to the Product Pivot. My name is Santi, and as always, I'm with my fantastic co host Megan. And today we are so excited to chat with David. And before I flip it over to him, I'll just do a little recap about our podcast. So, the Product Pivot is a podcast where we share stories from folks in the industry about how they've pivoted into product or things they've learned in their product career. We talk to all kinds of folks in different industries and roles and things like that. So we're super excited to have David on with us, and I'm going to flip it over to him so he can give an introduction about himself.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Very nice to be on. I think this is my second type of podcast that I've been on. So very exciting. Although this is my first podcast where it's actually about products. So cool. My name is David. As you know, I'm a lot of things. So right now, I am the founder of a immigration legal tech startup called Navim AI. And I started that out of a personal pain that I had that we can probably, maybe we'll get into on this show. When I'm not doing that, I'm doing two other things. My full-time day job, I'm a mechanical engineer for the government of Canada, while simultaneously being a product manager for my friend's fintech startup back in Ottawa called Kweeve. So yeah, that's like three hats I'm wearing.
How do you have enough time in the day?
There is no such thing as like hobbies or free time. In fact, it's actually, I posted on LinkedIn that like I haven't done anything since April or May, most on anything on the side, mostly because I was getting married. So like I've rediscovered what it means to have hobbies again. And I'm quickly watching as those hobbies slip out of my fingers as I get back into the grind. So but yeah, that's basically no time.
Well, what's your favorite hobby outside of work?
So I used to enjoy playing video games, but then as time went on, it's almost as if I'm growing out of it, which is very sad for me. Um, I've in my free time explored fiction writing recently, because my brother is going to hate this, but I told him bedtime stories for 10 years, growing up, and I still remember all those stories. So I'm like, I should probably write this down for my kids. Uh, Hence the fiction writer.
That is so cute. That's actually
Yeah.
cool. I think you should explore that a little bit.
Oh yeah. That's how like one of the greatest writers of all time, J.R.R. Tolkien. His Lord of the Rings
Yes.
series and The Hobbits
Yes.
was for his kids.
Really? I didn't know. I'm a big fan of audiobooks. I've read like 22 books so far this year. I'm a big fan of like counting audiobooks as books just because it's the same in my opinion.
I
And
agree.
I'm actually listening to Lord of the Rings right now, The Fellowship of the Ring, narrated by Andy Serkis. And I'm a big fan. I had no idea that he wrote it for his
Yeah.
kids.
I believe he wrote those for his kids. Yeah, he didn't just sit down to write.
Wow.
That's so cool. The more you know.
The more you know.
Well, you know.
See, guys, this is not just a product podcast. We're here to talk about hobbies and fun things to do outside of product as well, because it's really important that you have hobbies that are not associated with work. I guess for that, my hobby would be getting my new puppy. And Santi, what would
Oh
be your
wow.
hobby? Your child?
The offspring. That's
I
one of
think
them.
hobbies
Definitely.
are things that you do in your spare time, but the thing with kids is that they don't give you spare time. It's like an on
They
the clock thing.
100. They still think that we're one body. That's the thing here. My kids think we're still one unit attached.
That's so
Which
funny.
it's fine. It's fine. In terms of like a hobby, though, I like doing crafts. Actually, I really like doing
Oh,
crafts and like going outside and walking. But the way these
I
bugs be
love
acting
that.
this year, they be stressing me out. It's
That's like creative too. So it sounds like you both are very creative. It's like creative minded. I feel like I'm so analytical, which is like both of those things are so great for product managers and for the product mind. So I love that. That's so cool.
no, it's
All
good.
right. So I'll get down to business. Can you share a little bit about how you landed I guess I would say your role in product, but I know it sounds like you're doing a lot of different things.
yeah.
But usually we try to pulse a little bit on the path to product. So can you share a little bit about that, David?
I can tell you, yeah. So prior to landing my volunteer PM role with my friend, um, that's working on Kweeve, I actually, this is, so Navim is kind of my first startup-ish. I hesitate to call it a startup because then I add a lot of pressure on myself. So I'm still calling it a product that I'm building. Um, but prior to that, I actually did have a startup and it was called Nexocare. Nexocare was a digital health startup that I started up in 2022 with a couple of my friends. And what we were doing, our goal was to make health information for cancer patients um, more accessible to them and easier to manage and organize. And that was specifically, initially it started out with health information that was um, everywhere. So with their providers, in their patient portals, outside of their patient portals, that became very overwhelming very quickly, especially when we ran up against the behemoth that is Canada's digital health industry with the EMR companies. Like they're all Goliaths and we're this tiny startup trying to play in their field. So over a couple of months, we pivoted and my co-founder and we had no technical person on the team. So I was doing both the business side and I was doing both the technical side. Um, and I was building this with no code tools at the time. So right now there's AI coding. Right now there's like all these fancy, lovely prototypes. Back in the day, this is like 2022, we were using drag and drop builders. So Bubble.io. I don't know if anyone's ever mentioned that, but that was my best friend. And I used that to prototype the first version of Nexocare and then the second and the third. And all of that was really product work. I just didn't know it. Um, because I was talking to users, I was figuring out what they want, I was building Figma mockups, I was drawing the things, showing them. Um, I would build out, when I build out the prototypes, I'd schedule a call with one of them and I would walk them through it. And then afterwards, I scheduled a good call with a couple of them. And I just said, you guys have accounts, you guys use this, and I'll just tell you what to do. And you tell me, how you navigate this. And I didn't know that was a user testing session, but I just did it. Um, Unfortunately, I ran out of personal runway at like the 2 year mark of that. Part of that was personal, part of that was just operating something that complex. I couldn't see a way out of the trenches without getting a technical co-founder. And that was not something that it was looking feasible at the time. So after I shut down Nexocare, it was kind of sad. I was looking for what to do next. Um, and in that time, I met the founder of Kweeve. He actually is the youth pastor at my church back in Ottawa. So I met the founder of Kweeve and we will be bouncing business ideas off each other. And we will be bouncing, how is he working on his business? How am I working on mine? What are the different tools that I was using? He was always so amazed at how like someone with no technical background was spinning up these prototypes. And when I was out of work, I said, hey, if you need someone to help you product manage, because he was the one that actually told me that I could look into product management. So I told him if you need someone to actually product manage for you, because he's the founder and the technical guy, and it was just him on the show. I'm available. And so he thought about it. He didn't think about it for very long before he called me on board. And then we had a deep dive first call. We spun up a bunch of ideas of where we could take the product that he's currently at. I started doing all the product things. I built a backlog for him because initially he didn't have one. So I was like, hey, this is like where your product wants to go based on what you've told me. And here are the different things that we need to reach. These are the ways we probably need to engage our users because we haven't really engaged our users as much. So I started not just doing product work, but also customer success. I started doing like some marketing stuff for him. And yeah, that's how I got into my PM role.
That is such a
Love
good
it.
story. A lot of people don't realize they're doing product. This is such a common theme we've heard. Like so many people don't realize they were doing product work until they got into the product role more
Yeah.
formally. Meg, I think it was the same for you. It was the same for me. A lot of our guests,
100%.
yeah, they just didn't realize because there are a lot of elements to it,
Mm,
to a product role, and you don't think about it until, like I said, you're in that product role. And another thing that you said that stood out to me as you're working on this with your partner and you're doing like, yeah, you end up doing product stuff, but you were doing customer success stuff, you're doing marketing stuff.
mm,
Something that I learned with co-founding Portfolio with Meg, I think we both learned is we understand other roles in an organization so much better now because when it's only two people, you have to do it. We don't have a
you have to
marketer,
do it.
right? We
Yeah.
don't have a customer success person. We don't have like these roles that we, work with in our day jobs. So we have to do it all. So for me, it just only deepened my learning and my appreciation for these roles in my daytime job. I already appreciated them a
Definitely.
lot, obviously, but you don't really know how much you appreciate them until you have to do it yourself.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
that was a really good takeaway for me.
The biggest takeaway there is that you don't think about things from like, I'm launching a feature. You think about like, oh, we have a new feature coming out. What does product marketing need? What do we need to do for our customers? Do we need more support documents? Do we need to let sales know? What is the full process here? Because I feel like that always exists, but sometimes when everyone has a lane, you do kind of get that risk of staying in your lane at a
Yeah.
certain point when you're at a company that's got everyone around. And I think the smaller your org is, the more you're likely to see the whole picture and be part of every step in that
No.
picture to ensure a successful launch. And it's eye opening, I think. And I'm sure you've experienced that, David.
The for Nexocare, I didn't realize that I needed to film user tutorials until before the usability test. Oh man. I built the prototype, I understood everything back and forth, and then I was about to do the usability testing. And from the way the users were navigating it live during the test, I was like, oh, I need tutorials.
I love that.
And yeah.
Do you feel like the I one thing you mentioned that kind of sparked me is that you like to bounce ideas off of this friend of
Mhm.
yours that's now kind of
Yes.
become a partner. Do you feel like starting your own business kind of sparked that? Like that entrepreneurial journey that you had, you're like, oh my God, like I could do this again. So I have this idea now and I have this idea now. And I'm looking at a pen. How could I sell this pen? And I feel like that's kind of happened to me and Santi. It's like we started our podcast and then we're like, well, what else can we do? And
Yeah.
it's kind of grown from there. And I'm curious how that's happened to you.
I don't remember where I heard this from. So if you have a bunch of ideas and you let them sit in your head, you will not get more ideas. When you start acting on the ideas you have, when you start applying some of the inspirations that you have, you start to get more of them. I don't know how it works. So with Nexocare was like it wasn't a business. I didn't come up with that business idea. This was a completely separate story. My mom told me about it. She was like, hey, your dad's clinic has a bunch of patients that come in and don't know anything about their medical history. Can you build a company? She went from that to building a company. I'm like, that's a big jump you just made.
She
That's a
believed
very
in
big jump.
you.
Oh, she pushed us big time into doing that. Which I credit her for because that pushed me to a whole new world. So after that, I'm bouncing off ideas with my friend, and then we're building things for Kweeve, and I'm looking around, and it's like, oh, there's so many other little problems here that I could solve. It was like, I there are at least two more product ideas in here that I haven't started building, and that's just because of time, really. Um, but yes, you're absolutely right. Talking with people, sharing your ideas, even like because you share your ideas and you think, oh, what if someone steals the idea? So execution is everything. Like the idea is the
Yes.
easy parts. And so I'm not surprised if I share an idea with someone and they go start doing it, I'll tell them good luck.
Yeah.
Because there's still a lot more to learn there while you're building it. And I think the learning is the important part. It's like when you have an idea and you start to pursue it, you're pursuing it to learn more about this, to see what else you can discover there, because it's interesting. It's worth chasing.
For sure. And I think, I mean, you made a point earlier that I think that coming from a pain point, you're more likely to succeed with those ideas than you are if you just have an idea, right? If it's coming from like genuine pain, I think you're more likely to feel that firsthand and maybe have genuine passion for that idea
Oh,
and make it succeed.
oh yeah. Well, like that was me and Navit when we started. Because but I don't know if I can tell the full story now, but I got into when I applied for a work permit. It took 6 months for them to realize that I applied for the wrong work permit. 6 months. And um yeah, I had 1 week left in Canada, which is not the best thing to hear when you've spent
Oh my
9 years
God.
and your entire adult life. So I had 1 week left in Canada. I had 6 months. They told me 6 months after I applied, and I needed to figure out, okay, what do I do? And yeah, the 4 days that followed were some of the most intense days of my life. I was researching. I built a completely separate AI chatbot with perplexity spaces. I fed it all like most of my immigration docs and the rejection thing. I was like, I was building the prototype of a product because I needed it. Like there was a problem I had right now that I needed to be solved. And once I applied for the new work permits, then the storm kind of settled and the dust kind of settled. And then it's like everything started to click into place because um, at the church that I went to in Ottawa, it's a very big community. And so I have a bunch of international students coming up to me asking me questions about immigration, like almost on a weekly basis. Same thing for people that have graduated and were trying to get their permanent residence. Because I was a bit further along, they would ask me all these questions. And then like it just all started to sit with me. It's like, where is the guidance for people like us? Where is the, I could ask a chatbot like all the questions that they were asking me, but chances of it hallucinating an answer, chances of it pulling up like the wrong reference or an outdated reference, very high. It's like, where is the human being that can explain the steps to you, or at least to the human connection that can do that? And I think I saw clearly a gap from that entire experience, and I said, this shouldn't happen to anyone again. And I don't think if I told someone else that idea that they'd be able to execute it the same way I executed it. But I agree with you. Pain points tend to
Yeah.
generate very unique products.
For sure. And I think that you're entirely right. And I think that like just thinking about the way you're talking about that, we can think that other people have the AI skills that we have. Right? It's like
Hmm.
there's this element of thought that because we know something, the person across the room knows it too. And I think that we all kind of feel that way and assume that way. Maybe it's because of subconscious, I don't know, but it's very unlikely that that's true. And so sometimes like
Hmm.
that educational gap is really important to fill. And so products like you're talking about are really critical to helping other people. And sometimes we don't find that unless you are in a community like you're talking about with your church and you are someone that someone can come up to and ask those questions and then that pain point is really exposed. So like kudos to you for being able to take that pain point and fill that educational gap for other people because I think that's something really critical. Because a lot of people would just say, "Oh, those people know that; they'll figure it out with the chatbot," and then just kind of move on. Because I see that a lot.
You talk about building as a pathway into product management. So for someone that has like that idea, and we've been talking about this a little bit, but for someone that has an idea but no product experience, but they want to build something, like what advice do you have for them for starting out? Like where do they even start with that?
YouTube videos. YouTube
YouTube
University.
University.
Oh yeah, YouTube University. Oh, the number of things you can learn on YouTube. I don't know, it should not be free, but it is. And I'm so happy
Don't say
for
that,
it.
David.
I consumed all of their YouTube tutorials and a bunch of other creators on Bubble started building stuff. And like, and when you want to get into like the nitty-gritty technical stuff, can't really rely on the standard tutorials. And so that started out there. When I wanted to learn UI UX design, funny enough, because hey, you're the product manager of a startup and you also happen to be the designer of the same startup, so you're gonna use Figma. Uh, YouTube was there as well. And then when I wanted to learn how to use like Cursor, because I dove deep into Cursor for Navim. I went to YouTube as well. Now I'm using Codex, and before I got Codex, I spent 1 week watching all the Codex tutorials that I could. And that was like a week before I got Codex. I spent 1 week going watching all the Codex tutorials, and then I just put all of them inside a YouTube playlist. I downloaded Codex, and then like I was just up to speed in about 1 day, and I was using it just like I would every other coding agent. So start with YouTube, and like another one is just kind of starts. Like really, like pick a tool. There's so many of them. D0, Lovable, Bold, Replit. That's like the easy ones. Then Cursor, Claude Code, Codex. Be careful about Claude Code and Cursor because they might look at a little bit overwhelming. So maybe you might need a tutorial there. But like for the vibe coding apps, their UI is simple enough that you just go in and it's like, hey, I have an idea to build this, and just start and see what it spits out, play with what it spits out, and intuitively you know you'll know when a button is off or you know when a feature is missing, and then you'll just start talking to it like you would talk to, you're asking someone that has the technical skills to build it, a developer to build it for you. And over time, like as you just, that gets you over the hurdle, that gets you over the initial hump of idea in my head. Now idea it's out on the screen. And now when it's out on the screen, you actually now have something to play with and to iterate on and to improve. And so, yeah, just start. Like pick a tool, watch a YouTube video for a week. Don't wait too long. I spent a week because I wanted to. But yeah, that's my advice to anyone that has an idea and wants to start. This is kind of a cheat, but if you don't want to do any of those, you can talk to people about your idea. I'm a huge words of affirmation person. So if I talk to people about an idea and they tell me the idea is good, I'm going to go build it. Like I'm just going to have the excitement and the energy to go build the thing. Um, if they talk to me and they tell me the idea isn't good, now initially I would walk away with my head down and feeling all down and gloomy. But then I asked, but after 2 years of being a founder, you quickly learn that if someone says an idea isn't good, then the next question you would ask them is why. And so if you have an idea and you don't want to go build things right away, which, you know, if you're building a business, definitely don't go build things right away. But if you're just experimenting and prototyping, yeah, just go build it. Um, ask questions. So someone says the idea isn't good. Someone says they wouldn't use it. Ask why. Ask why. Like, are you not the target demographic? If you're not the target demographic, who do you think would be? Let me go talk to them. And so talking to people sometimes is a great way to energize yourself, to uncover, dig deeper into the idea that you have and discover if it's something worth building. After Nexocare, I had a lot of ideas and there wasn't really any that I wrote them down, but there wasn't really any that I wanted to dig into because I couldn't really see if it was something worth building. Um, with Navim, after I experienced the problem firsthand, no one needed to tell me it was something worth building because I just knew. But I also knew based on sentiments, based on experience, talking with people over years that have gone through this. And I didn't know that, I would reference all of those conversations to be like, okay, this is a pain point I can see here. That is something worth building. So that's the third tip. Talk to people.
That's arguably the most important too. If
Yeah.
you want to be technical about a
If
product
you want to
manager
be
mindset, it's
technical.
talking to the users, right? Or
Yeah.
to
If you want to be technical.
yeah, yeah.
Customer conversations.
Shout out
Customer
Steve.
conversation.
Yeah, that's right. But no, those are really great tips. I think it really resonates with a lot of folks too. Especially because again they'll realize once they get more into this mindset of a product manager, those conversations that they were having in the beginning, they'll realize that they were actually doing persona identification, they were doing
Exactly.
some product market fit, they were
Hmm.
doing discovery, like they were doing all these elements and it just wasn't obvious at the time, and then it will become obvious to them the
Exactly.
deeper they get into it. A
Yeah.
quick little side question off of that. Do you have a tool of choice that you recommend for brand new folks that you think would be the easiest to use for them just to get an idea out if they want to just see it somewhere? What tool do you think would be best for a beginner to use?
V0.
V0?
I like V0 because it's linked to Vercel. And so once you have V0 and you publish it on Vercel, it's really nice because if you want to take that anywhere else, your thing is already published on Vercel. So you don't have to think
It's
about
nice.
how to, you know,
How to
host
get
it
it
on a
hosted.
different platform.
Yeah.
You already did it once with V0, copy it into GitHub, then use any of the more advanced tools if you've outgrown V0 at some point to connect it up. And then, yeah, just continue playing with it from there. So I would recommend V0 100%.
We don't want to expose all the free stuff on here, but Vercel's hobby plan, it's legit.
It is so good.
It is so
Yeah,
good.
yeah,
We don't want them to hear this and change anything, but I just want to say it is so good.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
so good. From all the building that you've been doing, obviously the biggest challenge that's coming up with all the new builders that we're having, and I see this all the time on Reddit. I am just a known doom scroller on Reddit. I'm just curious, how are you solving the distribution gap? Because I feel like that is the biggest thing that new builders and then even people that were building 12 months ago are
Oh yeah,
noticing. That
oh
is
yeah.
the problem. Because building's easy.
Building is easy, distribution is hard, and I'm learning this in real time actually with Navim. Um, so when I started Navim, I wasn't thinking so much about distribution. Um, and honestly, I wasn't thinking, a part of me wasn't thinking of it as something that would be widespread. It was like, if someone has a problem, I'll just recommend them the tool that I built. Initially, that was my idea. And I think maybe some people should honestly ask themselves if the tool that they're building is something that they just want to, is something they want to spread out, or if it's something that they just want to have in their portfolio or resume, or like ask yourself, hey, am I building a business from this, or am I just building something cool that I like? And no, so if it's something cool that you like, it could actually organically gain traction. You might not need to do much. But if you're building a business or if you're building something that you want to be widespread, then you should think intentionally about this from day one. And a lot of people think about it at day 100 when it's done, when they're adding features and iterating. So how I've kind of overcome that with Navim. I mentioned that I was in an immigrant, I was a huge member of an immigrant church community back in Ottawa. And so basically all the international students that were there, I basically gave a presentation to them. And I told them, hey, I know all of you have asked me a bunch of questions about this. And by the way, I'm leaving in 5 months. But here's an AI chatbot that is much more accurate than me. And not only that, here's a roadmap builder that explains step by step everything that you need to do to get to permanent residence. Because sometimes you forget what's next. Sometimes you forget what are the things you need to do in the next step. And so I gave that presentation to them. I shared it with as many of them that as I could. And right now, I'm actually reaching out to immigration lawyers and immigration consultants. Initially, I was reaching out to them, like trying to partner with them, but now I'm reaching out to them as like potential customers, in fact. Um,
Oh, okay.
yeah, a different pivot entirely.
Kind of like a
Um,
B2B approach.
exactly, kind of like a B2B
Cool.
approach. Um, but definitely I wish I thought about development in the beginning because there's so many other levers that I could pull. There are a bunch of nonprofits and NGOs that work with immigrant communities that would love to have a tool like this as one of the resources they could recommend. Um, and word of mouth. I have actively like tried to tell people about it and tell people to tell people about it. And with immigrant communities, we're pretty tight knit, and if they find that something is useful, they will not hesitate to share it. And that's how that has contributed a lot to like the initial growth of the product. Um, the only thing I wish I did more is just think about it earlier on so that I could start pulling these levers back then and not
Yeah.
right now. So huge, huge.
Yeah. I heard someone say the other day that to think about distribution from day zero. That
Yeah,
was the
from
quote that
these.
she gave. And I thought that was really interesting. Because I think that, I mean, we've kind of experienced that as well. Because when we built Portfolio, we didn't we would never want to be SaaS founders. Like it was just never our thing. We just had an idea and a pain point, and we were like, let's build it. Right? We're product managers, and we didn't want to dip our feet in these like AI tools, and it was fun, and we built it. And then it started gaining traction, and we were like, all right, let's try this distribution thing. And I think like partnerships came up, you know?
I think that's the point when people start thinking about when it starts gaining traction. You're like, huh, maybe this is maybe this is
Yeah,
a thing we should have thought about. And
way before.
way before. I think for me it was the same thing. Whereas like I built Navim and there was this imposter syndrome of it's not good enough for people
Yeah.
to like really use, and then people started using it. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have thought about how more people could use it.
Yeah. Like people found value in it, and then
Yes,
your confidence went up, right? And so you're like,
exactly.
maybe I should give it to more people because people find value in it.
Exactly. That was my thought
Yeah.
process.
Yeah,
It's kind
yeah,
of
we had
interesting.
yeah, similar for us with Portfolio because it was, and like Meg said, it was just one of those things we wanted to just explore. Like we knew that there was these tools coming out, and we want to stay up to snuff with everything. We're nosy. We like new tools.
Oh yeah.
We want to learn and grow. And then yeah, once Portfolio came to light, and people were like, "Oh my gosh, this is great," we were like, "Oh, you like? Oh, okay, great."
I
Yeah.
yeah, and it's been fun though. I'm curious though, like because you kind of have like the lens of having been there, what are like the trade-offs that you've had to make with like your roadmap as you've been building with like people that are there now? Because like you're not there now. And I imagine things have changed a lot over the past, I don't know, year. I'm not sure when you started building it.
Yeah.
Are you still talking to customers actively? And I know like with that imposter syndrome maybe going away a little bit, how has your roadmap changed?
So I'm trying to bring back more of customer conversations. I had I had a lot of in-depth conversations at the start of Navin, like in the first few weeks of it. So much so that it kind of informed my roadmap for like 6 months. Like there were just so many reoccurring themes, repeating patterns of what people wanted to see, what people would like to gain out of a tool like this, that it gave me so much to more things than I had the capacity to build for. And so the roadmap is there looking at me. It's like there, you have 100 and something issues in linear that you need to go build. And I'm I'm blown away by how much you can get from users. Really, it's like it's almost a cheat code helping they're helping you build the thing. Um, so I'm trying to restart those conversations to just make sure that I'm on track because priorities change a lot, and especially in a field like immigration where like the policies keep changing, it's what have been important to users back then might not be important to them now. And there might be future priorities that maybe they cannot foresee. But me, since I'm very much watching the industry, I might be able to see, oh, this is a problem that it might come up and just trying to raise questions of, have you thought about this? Have you thought about how this might impact you in this way or that way? Um, and just starting to have those conversations with users again is something that I want to do. And as I mentioned before, exploring the B2B angle with immigration lawyers and consultants is something that I've now started, I've now restarted those conversations. So there's a friend of mine, he's both an immigrant and an immigration law clerk at the same time. So he's like, he can speak on the B2C and the B2B side of things. And I just had like a 1 hour call with him 2 weeks ago, oh, last week, and he broke everything down on the B2B side. It's like, this is what can save us money. This is what can save us time. We don't really care too much about this stuff. And the stuff that he didn't care about, I was thinking, oh, maybe they'd like an AI chatbot on their website. And, if someone comes in and is not ready to engage a lawyer, they can chat with the chatbots. And you know, it's not that much of a deal. Filling out forms, since he's the clerk, he does all the manual labor. It's like filling out those forms can take like 30 minutes to an hour. Can you make that faster? It's like, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So ideas like that, conversations like that are really kind of expanding what Navin could be and taking it in many directions. I love it.
Yeah. That's just a good reminder to talk to your
Yeah.
customers, folks.
Oh yeah.
For sure. And I think that it's really interesting to hear David talk about the dual persona there that he's
Mm,
targeting because we've had to do that with Portfolio. We've always had the hiring manager and then the actual user of being like product managers or product manager adjacent. So when
Mhm.
we've been thinking about building the product, it's always been those two. And we've had to balance our roadmap around both
Oh
constantly.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
so when we've had product managers that want like something more visually appealing, but the hiring manager's like, I like it more standardized and boring. It's been an interesting balance. So I'm curious, David, over the next like couple of months, as you keep those conversations up, how you might balance your roadmap around both, because it's been pretty apparent over the last year or so that B2B is very, very more lucrative over
Oh
B2C.
yeah. Oh yeah. It maybe the reason for that is if you're a customer that has that pain point, you have two things. The status quo, which, as bad as the status quo is, people would default to it over the new thing. And then the second is if you're like me, you'll find a way to vibe code your own solution. And it'll only work for you, but
Yeah.
it'll solve your problem. And so maybe that's why B2C is kind of falling off. Um, B2B, though, businesses may not have the time, except they're hiring these things that I now see on LinkedIn jobs, builders. They're hiring builders now. So except they're hiring a builder to solve their problems, they're still going to need that SaaS solution. So how am I going to balance this? I'm honestly thinking of two separate products right now because I've been trying to think of how could I keep this as the same. And I was like, this is probably two products. And I'm restarting discovery from scratch for the B2B angle. And so right now, I'm spending most of my time on the B2B side, just having the conversations and playing with prototypes and seeing if I can solve their problem for them while still, as I said, 100 issues on the B2C. I do not have a shortage of things to build and push on the B2C side of Navan. And honestly, for the B2C side of Navan, I really want to focus on distribution. And I think I've developed it to a point where the average target user can find enough value to sign up for it and to keep coming back to it. So I want to focus a lot on distribution and growing that B2C side. And most of my development may pivot to the prototyping, to the experimentation of the B2B side to see what sticks. And yeah, if I get an immigration law firm that's paying me, because right now, Navin is mostly free. But if a law firm can pay for some of the expenses that are going on here, that's going to only help the B2C side. and it's going to help the B2B side as well. It's going to help the business overall. So I will play with both distribution on one, development on the other.
Oh, but it sounds like you're really enjoying the exploration and the building, as well as just like having a product that feels like it works for
Yeah,
your users right now, which is really cool.
I love it. I used it right before I got my permanent residence. So I was user number one. Even after the prototype was done, like if I look into the user logs, the first person that created an account is still me. And I'm very happy. Because I find a lot of value in it, and it shocks me every time. Um, quick example. Someone asked me a question, and my friend and I we were trying to brainstorm like what the answer could be to her question, and he told me just use nothing. I was like, oh yeah, you're right. I could just use Navim. And so I asked the chatbot the question. I gave her the phone. She was looking at it. She was like, what is this? It's like, it's Navim. Go download it. So I love how it's useful enough where I can just do that. And it's the best flex I've had as a PM in my life to this day. Um, so definitely I can just focus on letting more people discover that while I develop this B2B angle.
I think that's so funny. I think like if Meg or I were to like apply to a job or something at some point and just like have our portfolios in there from Portfolio, it would say literally like this thing you're reading, we built it. Like
Yeah, it's
Right?
so
Like what a
cool.
flex. What a flex.
oh my
But
god.
it's so cool to be able to have the thing that you experience as a pain point helping other people. And I think that that in itself is just like humbly prideful, right? Like you can say
Yes.
that something that you built helps people. And I think that it's like all comes back to passion. And I
Yeah.
think that that's really, really cool. And when you're passionate about something, it allows you to build better. I think that it's something I'm always trying to get across in like conversations about product because it's cool to work on any product. And I think that working in the product space is really fun. But I think when you're passionate about a product that you work on, you build 10 times better.
Absolutely.
Yep.
I think it's
I
a big
agree.
difference.
Yeah, I agree.
Um, Santi, is there anything that we haven't covered that we wanted to cover?
I think there's one question left. It's talking about building while being employed full time in a PM role. I know we kind of touched on this a little bit, but what does that actually look like for you day to day, David? Like, what are the trade offs that you have there?
So trade-offs often is just no evenings and weekends,
Yep.
basically. Um, but it also means that like a lot of my casual downtime, I'm spending it. I listen to podcasts a lot. Like in a week, I maybe listen to 20 hours of podcasts.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's when I'm going to work, when I'm coming back from work. Sometimes if I'm doing like something that's a bit of a slog at work and I just want something playing in my ear, podcast, it's just almost constantly on, like a part-time job. So I, in my downtime a lot, I'm learning as much as I can and keeping up to date with like the AI world is so fast-paced. I enjoyed being out of it for 2 months. And now that back in it, it's like a rushing river that won't stop. And I'm honestly enjoying the ride right now. I was like, hey, the competition between Anthropic and OpenAI is so fun to watch. It's so chaotic. And like, Codex has me for now, but who knows, Claude Code? I might come to you soon. And Cursor, where are you at? So um, definitely learning a lot while also just coming back from work and I close work laptop, open personal laptop, and I'm going back into that and it, just being very intentional about my time and how I spend it. Um, and then I try to have one day where it's just priorities family, especially now. So that's usually Saturday. Saturday mornings all the way till actually sometimes it's all of Saturday where I'm just lazy. I'm doing nothing. And nothing is taking that Saturday away from me. Every other day is free game except for Sunday. I don't play with Sunday as well because half of that day is church. And then when I come back, then I can play with that as well. Um, but I don't play with my weekends, but when I need to work, I need to work, and evenings are usually the best times for that. And yeah,
Yeah, we Meg and I had a really similar kind of flow too. Like for me, because I also have a full-time job as well. I'm on mat leave right now, but like I was building portfolio while fully employed, and like you hear all these folks on LinkedIn like you can't do both, you gotta do one or the other, and I'm just like no. You
you
don't
can.
have to, right? Like I don't think that's actually something we should be peddling so hard, because then we can accidentally push this like hustle culture almost too hard, right? Like I think everyone loves to have a good little hustle going. You like you feel good when you're in a flow state and you're working on things, and you're getting things done. That's great. But when I was hearing this narrative of like, yeah, if you're building something on the side, like, and you know, you want to actually do anything, you can't have a full time job. You got to put 3,000 hours a week into this thing and all this stuff. And I'm just like, no, guys, like it really just depends on the person, what their goals are, what their space, their time is like. Like for me, I wanted to build these tools because I wanted to be better in my day job, right? Like I wanted to use it to level up as a PM, and I wanted it to help people, and I was like those two things were kind of like my passion. So I was like, this works perfectly well as like a thing that I build in my downtime, evenings and weekends, right?
Oh
While
yeah,
still protecting certain space. So for us, we do the same thing. Like I don't play about my weekends. My Saturday for us, we it's a day of rest for us, and then Sunday we have church in the morning and family stuff in the afternoon. So I've
lovely.
been very intentional about that, and Meg's been really good at keeping me honest because she is also very intentional about walking away from screens and having downtime. Meg is really good at that.
Is
Because
this day 4 of No AI? Day 5?
and
Last week I took some days off, but I had to do some client work, which kind of interrupted my full week.
Oh,
But I enjoyed those days. I cannot describe how different my energy levels were taking those days off. I It was really weird. I think that like Monday and Tuesday were the first full 2 days that I took those days off from AI. And I got off work at my normal time. So I usually get off work at like 2 if I'm like working like a normal day. And because I start work like really early, like 5 or 6 in the morning. And so I got off work at my normal time. And some days I'll pick my laptop back up. Just like yesterday, I worked until like 7 p.m. because I picked my laptop back up, right? It just depends on the day for me. Those days I got off work at my normal time because I didn't pick my laptop back up, so I didn't do more work. And I was like excited and energized, and I was like outside and I wasn't tired like both days. I was like ready to like take on the world. It was really, really weird. And then the days later on that week that I had to do client work, I was freaking exhausted. It was
yeah,
weird.
yeah. We were not built to sit in front of screens for 16 hours a day.
Yeah.
So definitely take that time to recharge.
It's very interesting, even if I work like a normal work day, like 8 to 10 hours, and I'm using AI versus same hours not using AI, how much different my energy levels are. I think the like fighting with hallucinations or trying to get 10 times the amount of work done in the same amount of hours
A
because
lot
it's
of
like
pressure.
it is. And it's very interesting. I would challenge anyone who's using AI throughout the week to try one day, doing one day without AI, one day with AI, but trying to do the same amount of hours and the same amount of work and test like how they feel. It's obviously like there are so many factors, so it's very difficult. But I noticed a very, very drastic difference in my energy level at the end of the day.
I
So it was
also
very
feel
interesting.
Yeah, because I used to do that too. Like I would take one day a week where I didn't use AI at all, and I really looked forward to it, honestly. It just helps you feel like not human again. We're still human, but it just helps. It's like you're tapping into those skills. And like having to, I don't know, just something about like doing it yourself. I don't know what it is. I just liked it. I was like,
I,
I
I
could go
mean,
deal with this thing manually. I kind of like it.
it's totally fair. It's the same way
Yeah.
I feel when I do like integrals. I'm a mechanical engineer. So like the same way we feel when we solve math problems without a calculator versus with a calculator, you feel so
Yeah.
much better when you solve it without it. It's like, oh, this was, I'm actually good. I can do this thing. And
Yeah.
then you put it in a calculator and it just spits out the answer, no problem. It's like, oh, okay.
But can I
So
also say I'm obsessed with the days like yesterday where I had like four terminal windows open and I was running like three agents at a one time while also building something unlovable for fun. So, I mean, I don't hate AI. I'm just saying that there are differences in my energy level at the end of the
yeah.
day. And I worked like 13 hours yesterday. So I'm obsessed with it and it's a lot of fun, but I do notice a very different feeling at the end of the day. If there's anything that we have not covered that you would like to cover, now is your moment.
So there is one thing I just want to say. Basically for anyone that's building or like trying to get into the PM stuff world, try and have fun along the way. Like try and see it almost like a game that you're playing and maybe with yourself rather than like if you kind of or like with someone else, like with the world, however you want us to do it. Try and have fun. Try and see the joyful moments in it because if you get stuck in just, oh, I'm doing this, then I have to do this, and then I should do this, and I'm not doing that, and it's like it can suck all your energy if you're thinking that way. And to me, like when I was building Navim, when I was, building Nexocare in the beginning, the best moments were when I was thinking of it as what would happen if I do this? Like approaching it with a spirit of curiosity, with a spirit of playfulness. It's usually the best way to go about, especially in the age of AI, where it's like maybe don't type, record your voice and just speak out loud. And maybe that's the different way you're going to work today. Um, have something, throw in a bit of variety in your life, and it's going to be fun. You're going to be able to work longer, and if you don't want to work longer, set a deadline and stop at that deadline and go for a walk instead. Um, but that's what I would say. Try to have fun along the way because it's really like it's mind blowing what we're able to do right now. It's absolutely mind blowing. It's like stop and think about what you're able to build and appreciate it, and then go back to building. But yeah,
I want that whole clip just everywhere. I want to put that everywhere. That was great. That's such a good mindset to have. I think, and Meg, obviously I won't speak for you, but I'm sure there's been times where like I myself will have a moment where I'm like, oh my gosh, like okay, yeah, we did this thing, now we gotta go do this, we gotta go do this, we gotta go do this, and it can be really easy to get kind of sucked into like the more not maybe negative, but like more of like the oh, there's always more to do kind of mindset, and
yes,
not being able to take a breath of fresh air and be like, look what we did. We did that. Or like,
exactly.
look at this one we had. And I think it's being intentional about celebrating the wins can absolutely make a difference for the mindset of
Oh yeah,
what you're working on. And I think that your reminder there was just so, so good.
oh yeah. Thank you.
Do you like Whisper Flow?
Ah, how did you know?
I'm a very big user of it. Big fan. So I was just curious based upon what you said about like speaking.
I got it 2 weeks ago, and I haven't stopped.
Yeah, it's so good. I'm a big fan. I feel like the worst part about it is that my husband's around all the time, so I can't just like fully adopt it. If he was just like not around, I would never type again.
Yeah, I really wish I could use it because I want to use it on the train. I want to use it when I'm
Right?
walking. But at least when you're walking, you can put your headphones in, and maybe people will think you're on a call. But like
Yeah.
when you're on, it's like I
It's
have so many
so
ideas.
good. I
It's really
actually
good.
downloaded the app on my phone this week so I could like use it on my phone and not just my computer. And I just like feel like the sky has opened up for me. It's so wonderful.
Yeah,
It's so
whisper
good.
flow.
I haven't
uh,
used it yet, and now I feel like I'm missing something.
every person who hasn't used it or refuses to use it is missing something.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
You
probably
should
am.
try it.
Should I? Yeah. I'm a babbler. I feel like I'll break it.
You won't.
That's the
It,
best parts. It
Is that the
accepts your
best?
babbles.
Except,
it's really, really good.
It's
I
a
highly
human won't
recommend.
listen to you, but the AI would, and it'll take all your babbles and it'll spit out something that you're like, wow, I didn't. That looks like something I would have said, but with all the ums and ahs and the oh, and it's all cut out. It's amazing.
gotcha. Okay. You guys convinced me. I might give it a go.
Give it a go.
Yeah, that watch. We're gonna do another episode, and it's gonna be like, so, folks, actually,
This is not an ad, people. I promise. We
yeah,
just
It's
yeah.
love the
not. It's
tool.
not.
We're not sponsored. I promise. But I mean, we could be. No,
Hey, Whisper Flow, if you're listening.
yeah. Shout out Whisper.
uh, okay, we have one more question for you. Most PMs say that they're user obsessed. Do you actually think that's true, or is it mostly something that people say on LinkedIn?
This is gonna get me in trouble. Okay, let me think. Okay, I think I don't know if it's most, but more people than you'd suspect say they are user obsessed. More people than you'd expect. I wouldn't say most, but I would say more people than you'd expect would say they're user obsessed. It's I feel like, especially with product management, they are the right things to say, and there's like an established canon of how you should speak. And I feel like I see so much of it on LinkedIn, and I'm like, either all of you are amazing product managers, or some of you are following a script. And yeah, I mean, I will admit it. For Nexocare, I didn't talk to users until like month 6 or 7 of Nexocare. With Navim, I will be fully honest when I said it on the podcast. Like, I didn't do user interviews until like the first prototype because, again, I had all this built up knowledge and everything. But it wasn't like, oh, I really care about the user. And I just had an idea. It's like, this is how it should be. And I went and I built the thing. And then I asked the users after the fact. It's like, what do you guys think? But again, I had all that built up experience that my insights, you could say, were not off or totally off.
Right.
But yeah, I really feel like more than most, more than you'd expect. Definitely say it.
No, that's a good answer. I think what stood out to me about that is the whole script feeling of LinkedIn right now. I think a lot of us are kind of feeling it.
Hmm.
Um, One of the things, like when I started a few years ago, I made it my goal to be like, I just want to be me. Like I just want to be authentic on there.
Hmm.
Like I just kind of want to be me. Obviously, I'm not on there as much right now because just had a baby not too long
Oh
ago,
yeah.
so obviously family life is the priority. But um, I want to like show up in a way that's like authentic and just not your run of the mill kind of like scripted content. I'm not
Hmm.
saying everyone's trying to be scripted by any means either. It's just you know
There's
sometimes
an established lingo.
yeah, and it's
Yes.
like in like a format or like a way that these posts are being written, like what's being yeah, yeah, it can feel a little scripted at times. So I
Hmm.
think yeah, I think that was a good thing that you noted.
It
Hmm.
reminds me of what Steve said recently about how like less than 20% of product managers have product management training, but everyone that's a product manager knows how to be a product manager on LinkedIn. It just is like if you go to LinkedIn, everyone will tell you how to be the best product manager, but how many of them have actually been trained how to be a product manager? Eek.
It's a good question. It's a good question. I think there's always room to learn. There's always
There's
room to grow.
always room to learn, and I think that's a
Yeah.
really good point. And
Yes.
I think like calling back David to your call outs about like the on like discovery and interviews that you did for your products. I think like it shows learning there because you showed that you learn like how waiting till 6 months is probably not the best plan when you built your
Hmm.
second product. And when
Hmm.
you built your second product, it was from learned experience. So waiting for your first prototype isn't a bad thing. I think
Hmm.
that makes sense because you already had an idea from learned experience. And then you had something physical that you could show when you started doing user interviews.
Yeah.
I don't think any of that's bad. So I just want to
I,
call that
I,
out.
I should even highlight that back then, the reason it took 6 months is like that without the AI tools from idea to prototype was just much longer if you're a
Yeah.
beginner, especially. Now with V0, the first time I used V0 was, it wasn't with Navin, it was for my previous portfolio. But the second time I used V0 was with Navin. And I spat out that prototype in like 2 weeks.
Wow.
And so I could start showing people 2 weeks after I had the initial idea. So just much faster than before.
It's crazy how fast you can build products now.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. And it's inspiring too. I feel like it's just a lot of fun and where we can
Oh,
get
yeah.
some of these ideas out of our head. And I think it's really, really cool too. I feel like one day last summer, I was like out on my porch and I was like, I have this idea. And I had like the Lovable app on my phone and I just like built it on my phone while I was on my back porch. Never did anything with it. I just want to highlight nothing ever happened,
And
but
that's
it got
totally
out of my
fine.
head. So I think it took like 3 hours for me to build the whole thing, but it got out of my head. And so that was important.
100%. Yeah, I'm literally whipping up something very quick on Lovable. It's going to solve literally just a personal pain point of mine. That's it. It's literally just to keep track of what people like so I can give them better gifts because can't I can't keep track of all these siblings and nephews and friends and family.
Like someone would say there's an Excel sheet that you can do that for you.
Right, yeah, and they probably could. The thing with me is because it's in my brain and I like want it a certain way, like in my head, I'm like you, David, where I'm like, it's only gonna work for me. I need it to be how I want it to be. And if anyone else wants to use it, sure, maybe I'll post it to LinkedIn. But I'm like, this is for me. This is to solve my problem.
Yeah.
The cool thing about that, though, is what I've found about building products today is that literally, Santi, you could export that project to GitHub. You could export it to GitHub, and then people could fork it and make it themselves. Like they could make it their own, or they could even like push PRs to it and make changes and
Oh, yeah.
improve it. So it doesn't have to be just for your brain anymore. And like I
That's
feel like before now, people may have been doing that, but it was just software engineers.
Yeah.
And now anyone can do that and anyone is excited to do that. I saw someone doing that for their job search tracker and she was like, I literally just built this to track my job search. But here are 3 other ways that you could improve it if anyone wants to push PRs to it. And she put that in like the README
Oh,
and then just posted
wow.
it on LinkedIn. She's like, I don't have time to do any of these things because I'm like applying for jobs. But if anyone wants to improve it, then here you go. And I think that is so fun. It's like community improvement of a project that you just built for yourself. So you never know, Santi. Like someone could be like, let's track gifts.
yeah. Hey, like I'm open. I'm open because I for my folks that know the postpartum brain can be very crazy. So I just need something to get this all in shape. It's too many
Yeah,
birthdays, too many
you
events, too
never
many people's
know.
preferences. We're
And
getting there.
David's got these ideas in his head. He was saying he's got 2 more ideas for products. You never know. You
I've
could
got
spin
some
up a
more.
little something.
I've got one and I've got a lovable prototype for one. And I'm happy with that. It's just sitting there right now. Um, and then for the other one, I think, no, that's still sitting in my head. I haven't really done anything besides like writing it down what it could be. And then that's it.
Whisper flow.
This was before Whisper Flow. Right now, I guess, sorry, maybe I'm dragging this on too long. Right now, what I do, I posted about this on LinkedIn maybe 2 days ago, but I join a Google Meet with just myself and I invite Fathom AI. And this is like Whisper Flow on steroids because I talk to myself for 1 hour. And I
That is
have
the best idea.
That is
sometimes I have structured prompts. So I was exploring a business idea and I was like going through everything, but I didn't write anything down. I was just like, think about this, how you do this, and I have like 10 slides. And every slide was just one question. So I'd go to that slide and I would just talk, go talk, go talk. When I was done, the transcript, the AI summary was all done as well, and it was like 1 hour of me yapping to myself. And yeah,
That's a great idea.
That's
I've
a
done
pro
that
tip.
before. I've done that before with Claude. I've had it interview me with a voice chat, and
yeah.
I've had it interview me and then had it create like a PRD or a
I don't
brief.
I don't trust the voice chats because I feel like
It's
it'll
not as
get
good.
lost in the context somewhere.
Yeah.
But when you have the entire transcript and just attach that as a text file into like a GPT project or Claude project, yeah. So
That's a great idea. Really
That's
great idea. I'm stealing. I've always said that like the best way to use AI, and I've shared this with several people, especially job seekers that have used our product, the best way to use AI is with voice because it like context is not getting lost. And so just go in, talk about your projects that you've done, record all of the projects, the case studies specifically, Santi,
yep.
and just talk about them because
that's how I
it's
built my
recording a
portfolio.
transcript. It's
Oh
the best. Otherwise, you're typing and then you're like trying to clean up the work that you've done. You don't want to do
yeah,
that. You want to
yeah.
talk gap about yourself. Say all the good things. Say
You can
everything that
go
you did.
you can go on a tangent if you want to.
Yeah.
It's like, by the way, this is how I learned how to do this. I mentioned that I use this, but this is how I learned how to do this. And let
Yeah.
the AI figure out how to add that into your portfolio.
Yeah. That's such a great idea. I love that. I'm stealing.
Feel free.
David, you had so many good insights, and we're so grateful for you coming on. Thank you for
Thank you very
sharing all of that
much.
with us. And I think, like I said, I think our listeners are going to absolutely love it. So this was 10 out of 10 would do again.
I appreciate it. I really very much enjoyed talking to you both. I remember when you announced the Product Pivot podcast for the first time,
Oh,
and I was very excited. Yes. So
that's so good.
I've been listening since then. I've really enjoyed it. I'm enjoyed watching you guys grow and enjoyed watching Portfolio grow as well. So like all the best to you all. You guys are great.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
Thank
That's
you.
so sweet. That warms our hearts. Thank you. We really appreciate it. And this has been so much fun. Definitely keep us up to date with your B2B angle. I'm very curious how that goes, you know. I'm always curious to see like pivots and things like that. So definitely keep us up to date.
Thanks so much for listening, friends. We had an awesome time chatting with David. As usual, follow us on all the regular social sites. We've got all kinds of episodes and goodies there, and we will catch you at the next one.
Thank you.